Sam Whitaker never imagined 62 would feel like this. Not tired, not worn down, not invisible. It felt alive. He woke before sunrise most mornings, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. The soft, quiet light filtering through the blinds was his cue to begin the day. Coffee brewed while the house was still wrapped in silence. His bones creaked a little when he stood, but he smiled at the sound. It reminded him he was still here, still moving, still in control of his story. They say getting older means slowing down, stepping back, fading out. But Sam had a different rule book. His life was proof. If at 62 you can still do these six things, you're winning by a landslide. First, you wake up with purpose. Sam had retired early from his job in municipal planning. At 55, he walked out of the office for the last time with no regrets and a vague plan. He wanted more time with his grandkids, more time fishing, more time building furniture in his garage. Retirement didn't mean his life stopped. It meant he could finally choose his own pace. He kept a notebook by the kitchen table with 5 things he wanted to do each day. They weren't earth-shattering. Some days it said, clean the gutters, or call Jeremy, or go for a walk by the lake. But each one was a target, and hitting those marks made him feel anchored. When you wake up looking forward to something, even just one thing, you're ahead of most people. Sam knew that. Second, you move your body daily. Sam didn't have a six-pack. Never did. But he could still touch his toes, do a solid 20 push-ups, and walk 5 miles without needing a nap. He wasn't training for marathons. He just believed in movement. Stretching while the coffee brewed, walking the trails behind his neighborhood, swimming laps twice a week at the community center. Movement kept his mind sharp, his joints fluid, and his mood light. One morning, his younger neighbor saw him tossing mulch bags into the bed of his pickup. "You really shouldn't be lifting that kind of weight at your age," the man said. Sam grinned. "That's why I can still lift it, because I never stopped." Third, you keep learning. Every Thursday afternoon, Sam sat in the back of a small classroom at the local community college. He wasn't working on a degree. He just liked learning things he'd never had time for. He'd taken courses on art history, digital photography, and even a beginner's class in Spanish. When people asked him why, he'd say, "Because my brain still works, and I want to give it something to chew on." He wasn't the smartest guy in the room, but he was often the most curious. At 62, he'd realized learning wasn't about achievement, it was about expansion. And every new thing he learned added dimension to his world. Fourth, you spend time with people who matter. Sam didn't have hundreds of friends, but the ones he had were gold. Every Wednesday, he met his old high school buddies for breakfast at a diner on Main Street. They'd been doing it for almost 10 years. Eggs, coffee, a few laughs, a few stories that got more exaggerated each year. He called his sister twice a week, played catch with his grandson in the backyard on Saturdays, brought his neighbors trash cans in when they forgot. These little acts kept him connected, grounded, part of something bigger than himself. Loneliness was a slow killer. He'd seen it happen to others, people who let pride or bitterness or busyness isolate them. Sam refused to let that happen. If you still have people who pick up the phone when you call and people you do anything for, you're richer than most. Fifth, you laugh often and don't take yourself too seriously. The lines on Sam's face weren't just from sun or time. They were from laughing. He cracked jokes at the checkout line, made his grandkids giggle by pretending he couldn't figure out how TikTok worked, even though he kind of could. When his neighbor caught him singing to his tomatoes while gardening, he didn't get embarrassed. He took a bow. Life at 62 wasn't about proving anything. It was about enjoying what you'd built, forgiving yourself for the messes, and learning to laugh at all the stuff you once stressed about. If you can still find joy in a dumb pun or a bird landing on your porch, you're living well. Sixth, you feel peace with who you are. This was the big one. Sam had regrets, sure. He wished he'd traveled more when he was younger. He wished he'd learned to dance when his wife was still alive. But he wasn't chasing perfection anymore. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He liked the man he saw in the mirror. Scar on his eyebrow from a bike crash in '73. Slight stoop in his shoulders. Still a sparkle in his eye. He had lived, stumbled, loved, and kept going. Peace didn't mean everything was perfect. It meant nothing had to be. And sitting on his back porch with a cold drink and the sound of crickets rising from the trees, Sam often thought, if this is what 62 feels like, I'll take every year after with open arms. Because if you can still wake up with purpose, move your body, keep learning, love people deeply, laugh often, and like the person you've become, then no matter what your age says, you're winning at life. And Sam Whitaker, he was winning every single day.